Hey, Eric here, eMan. I am the Vintage Flipper, and I woke up this morning pretty stoked. Why? Why do you say? I sold, I'm into vintage tees, and I sold probably my best profitable item ever to date, and I hope I'm not done. What did I sell? You guys remember the movie from 1994 with Woody Harrelson, Natural Born Killers? Yeah. Now, before you say anything, you're thinking, hey, the tag's all hosed, and look at the stains on this thing, and this is a pretty rough shirt. And so, what did you sell for, eMan? What'd you sell for? 40 bucks? 50 bucks? 100? Keep going. Well, I don't know if you remember watching another video, but I picked this up at a garage sale. I was taking my son to his SATs. I was in a town where I've never picked before, and I'm like, what am I going to do for 5 hours? So I went to a garage sale. Well, I went to one garage sale that was on my list, and I'm stuck. Well, I stopped at a intersection, and I see a sign. And I go up the hill, and, nice, lovely couple, about my age. And they don't have the greatest products in the world. It's like a regular garage sale. I think the father was sitting there, and I'm like, how you guys doing, blah, blah, blah. I see a Rubbermaid bin. I go to the back, and they have T-shirts like this. And so I pull out 5 T-shirts for $0.25 each. Now, at the time, I pulled out a Guns N' Roses vintage 1988 Welcome to the Jungle single stitch. If you don't know what single stitch is, single stitch basically lets you know that it's real vintage. And you look at the way that they sew the shirt, and the way, on the sleeves, and then on the bottom over here. I could post a link to an article that kind of explains what single stitch is. So I would say mid-90s is when single stitch went away, and they went with the double stitch. So it's very, these collectors love single stitch, and that's what this sucker is. This sucker is a single stitch. Let's see. So that's... All right, and so the funny thing is, I pulled this out, and I was like, I'm like, wow, this is ratty, but I mean, it's kind of cool. I'll grab it. I have no idea what it's worth. I'm doing comps, and I can't find anything on it. I see other shirts going for nothing selling, but I see 2 other shirts similar. I mean, it's from the same movie, going for about $600. And I'm like, what? So I have Worth Point. If you don't know what Worth Point is, I paid $20 a subscription. It's so worth it to me. I made my money and some. But basically, these comps go all the way back like 10 years. And so I find this shirt, and the last shirt in the wild that sold, that specific shirt, sold for $150. And I'm like, score, $150. But that was in like 2016, 2017. And so I reach out to a couple buddies that I know sell a lot of vintage shirts. And they tell me, hey, man, I think it's worth more than $150. And I was like, all right. So what I like to do, if you follow me on Instagram, is I post, what I get. And I'm like, hey, I scored this. And I post it on my Instagram. And immediately, I'm getting like messages. Hey, I'll buy it. I'll buy it for $250. Hey, I'll buy it for $350. I'll buy it for $300. And I'm like, oh. And they wanted to do it. So there's a lot going on in this video, but they wanted to do it outside of eBay. And there's pros and cons to that. I know a lot of people do that. They avoid the fees, but you just don't have the right, the coverage, And so I was like, I'm like, if it's like a $10 item, all right. But I mean, we're talking, $300 at this point. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. I always just say thank you. Thank you for your inquiry, but I think I'm going to post it on eBay. And so, you know, I'm going in yesterday thinking, all right, I'm going to start this sucker at 300. And I'm doing a live video on Instagram with Sir Notch Connection. And we're talking about things that I happen to bring up and go, hey, man, I think I'm going to start it at 300. And I get a message from someone later on that says, I saw your live video. I will offer you $385 right now. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? I was like, all right, I got to do more research on this. I finally decide on $4.99. And that was a mistake. But I have no regrets. I started at $4.99. So here we are, $4.99, and it's 7 o'clock, and I post this thing up. And I get a lot of, I mean, look at this thing. I mean, I love it. I get a lot of, offers immediately. Tons of offers. And I'm like, whoa, a lot of activity here. And so the first offer comes in, $400. And I'm like, all right, I always keep the high one. And I'm not going to counter. That's like my safety net. So I was like, I'm willing to take $400 at this point. Absolutely. A couple of 350s come in, 380s come in, then somebody lowballs me. I just, you know, anything. So all the 350s and up, I counter to 450. They counter me back lower, and I just decline. And this goes on for about a good hour. So I think I'm up to like, you know, 60 views at this point, and I get this one offer for $385, and I do my same thing. I basically, you know, bring him up to $450, and he comes back and goes, what do I need to do to get this shirt in my possession? I'm at the airport, I'm about to board, and I need this. And my reply simply was, there are many offers. I had two offers now. I had one offer at 400. And I said, I have an offer at 400. I'm going to take it unless you come in better. And here's what I recommend. And I countered him at 450. And I went to go get a drink and ding, boom, sold. And paid immediately. And I'm like, wow, great. I got what I wanted. Paid 25 cents for this shirt. I made my money. This was the best flip I had thus far. Hopefully not the best. I hope I do better. But at this point, I'm thrilled. So you say it's over. It's not over. I'm getting Instagrams going, I will offer you 500. I will offer you 450. And I'm like, holy moly. I'm like, all right, yeah, I sold it, guys, you know. Then I get a surprise one from eBay that says, I saw you sold it. If he backs out, $600 from me. Holy moly. I'm thinking I should have sold this thing. I started this thing at $7.99. So you ask, what is so special about this? This shirt's got a bunch of things going for it, okay? Let's analyze it. All right, so let's analyze this thing. First off, it's a giant, all right? And so anyone knows vintage t-shirts back in the 90s, you typically saw a giant by Tolex, okay? And it's an extra large. That is the most popular size that I've had experience with that sells. So that's the first thing it's going for. It's authentic, giant. 2, it's an extra large, okay? Subject matter. I mean, this was a cult movie. Why? It was a Oliver Stone movie. All right, he's done Platoon. He did JFK. And so when this movie came out in the 94, I was in college. You know, it was controversial, you know. This actually was a screenshot. I was watching the trailer, and I'm going to put the trailer at the end of this video if you want to see it. I'm not going to put it here now. But this showed up in the movie. And it's got the date. If you look at the date here, 1994 Warner Brothers production, okay? And if you look at the coloring, you're looking at it. I mean, I don't know if you could see it, but it's like kind of yellowish, and because it's old. That's what makes it more appealing, I think. I think the people that love this. Here's what else this shirt's got going for it. 9-inch nails. Rage Against the Machine. L7, no idea. Leonard Cohen, Stranger Music, Natural Born Killers. And you can see it's even got a fade over here. So this was a very, very sought out shirt. You could see like white here. The yellow is part of this, but you can see like kind of a yellow here. You can kind of see like, let's look at the collar. You know, it goes white and it goes yellow. It's got a couple stains. This thing could have had more holes in it. It didn't matter. This was a well sought out shirt. And it's, there's not many in the wild. There's a lot of reproductions. Tons of reproductions. And they sell for like $20. So that's my story. Woke up pretty happy. That's the best flip of so far. Guys, look out for vintage t-shirts. Oh, and I'm going to add one more thing. That will never make it to a thrift store because the ladies or the gentlemen who, they'll take one look at that and go, this is the rattiest thing I've ever seen. And they will chuck it. And that's why I found this at a garage sale. If I mean it. If that shirt made it to a thrift store, it would have been dead. And that's why I don't think there's many in the wild. So if you're watching this video and you have vintage t-shirts, you're probably going to want to sell yours, okay? And keep them out there. But if you're watching this and have no interest in selling, don't, and it looks ratty and you're not sure, don't bring it to a thrift store. My advice is because that will get tossed. All right? eMan here. I am the Vintage Flipper. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Hey, subscribe to this channel and hit the alert button. I'm going to have more videos like this.
Platoon, Wall Street, born on the 4th of July, JFK. Oliver Stone's vision has changed the way we saw our past. Now he takes a look at where we are and where we're going. And you will be shocked at what he sees. Nikki and Mallory, feared by thousands.
I love you so much, baby.
I love you.
Watched by millions.
We're fighting. Can't stop fighting. Nobody can. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone or something.
Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., and Tommy Lee Jones.
What do you have to say to your fans?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Natural-born killers. In the media circus of life, they were the main attraction.